Hello everyone. In this video we are going to look at a topic known as variable length arguments. So we have already discussed about methods and we have seen how methods can take arguments and it can return values. We have also discussed about methods overloading. Okay, now we want to see how we can make a method take in variable number of arguments. That is, in the methods that we had created so far, always the number of arguments were fixed. So if I give 3 arguments, suppose I have a method void sum method, and then I give the arguments like this: int a comma int b. In that case I have to have 2 arguments here. I have to have a and I have to have a b. So I have to give 2 arguments. I cannot give 1, I cannot give 3. So in this situation the number of arguments is fixed. But sometimes we might want to give a variable length of arguments or a variable number of arguments. This can be useful when some of the arguments already have some default values given and we just want to use these default values in case these values are not provided. Okay, so in that case what we will do is we would like to incorporate in our programs arguments to methods which are not of this type, that is fixed, but variable in number. So the same method I can execute it with 0 arguments or 1 argument or 2 arguments or n number of arguments. So let's see how this is done. So in the very simplest way, in the simplest of form, if you see, I may have the number of arguments that I want to pass may be known to me, that is known number of arguments. So I may already know that I want to send a maximum of say 5 arguments. So the number of we have known number of, that is the maximum we already know. So we know the max. Okay. And also sometimes it may be the number of arguments, maximum number of arguments may be small max number of arguments. So in such a case, there are 2 ways in which we can incorporate this. The first way is by writing overloaded methods. So suppose I have a function and I have a method and I know that my max number of arguments is 3. So that means I may have 0 arguments, I may have 1 argument, I may have 2 arguments, I may have 3 arguments. So in that case, if I want to write overloaded methods for each of these, then I have to write 4 methods. In the first method, and as you know, in overloaded methods the method names is the same. So I may write one method with 0 arguments, another method with 1 argument, another one with 2, and another one with 3. So this is the first way. But here you see that you have to write a lot of code, unnecessary code. So this may not be a very good way. So what is the second option? Second option is pass the arguments as an array to the method. Okay, so I will pass an argument to the method. Say I have some method and here I want to pass n number of arguments, so I will simply pass an array. And in this array I may have 0, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and any number of values, integer values I can give. So this is another way of implementing your variable number of arguments. But as we will see in the next few in the program, we'll write a program and we'll find that both these techniques are not very efficient. So without any further delay, let us look at the programs. So here I have this is the tester class, test args, and this is the main. So we'll come to the main later. Let us look at the method which is using our variable number of arguments. So here in this method, what we are doing is we are looking at, in this class where args, we have created a method, overloaded methods. So where args method, here I am passing one integer, and inside what we are doing, we are just finding the sum and printing it. Okay, so one argument, so sum is equal to v, and we are printing the value of sum. Then we are writing another method, which is, again, it is an overloaded method. So where arg method, same name, number of arguments is 2. So now I am finding sum of v1 and v2, and then we are passing the sum, and then we are printing the sum. Third one is, we have method v1, v2, v3. We have method same where arg, overloaded method, 1, 2, 3 arguments we are passing. So v1, v2, v3, we are finding the sum and printing the sum. Okay, so in the main method, we are creating an object of this class. This was the class where args, so we have created an object v of obj of this class, and we are calling the methods where arg. So when I'm calling with one argument, then this method gets executed. When I'm calling with 2 arguments, then this gets executed, and when I'm calling with 3, then this gets executed. So in this manner, you can see that the same method, it appears as though I'm passing the different number of arguments. Now, as I have mentioned, this is possible, or this is useful only if the number of arguments is less. You already know what is the maximum, and you know that this maximum is a small number. Suppose you have 15, you want to pass, the maximum number of arguments you want to pass is 15. In that case, you have to write 15 different overloaded methods. So not convenient at all. But before, just to show this, let us run this and see. So this we will compile the program. Okay, its compilation is done. Let us run this. So I have passed 9 for the first one, then 9 is the sum. Second, I have sent 2, so two arguments are added, and I get 19. I think it was 17 and 4, and the third one was 3 values were sent, and the sum is given as 11. So this is through the overloaded methods. Let us come back to our program. Now I don't want this. I don't want that. I want that using overloaded methods. So I'll comment this class out, and we will look at another class here. So here what I'm doing is I'm creating an integer array. So my argument to the method is an array of integers. Okay, so in that case, again same method. I have a sum variable initialized to 0. Then I have a for loop which will loop through. I will loop through each and every element of v, of the array v, and it will find the sum. Sum is sum plus I, and finally we are printing the value of sum. Okay, so now here you can see I have only one method which takes as argument an array, and whatever you pass from the main function, it will print this. But here one problem is that when I'm calling it, like here, when I'm calling it, I cannot pass like this, because this is not an array. 9 is an integer, it is not an array. 12, 17 is not an array. 1, 4, 7, 6 are just 3 integers. These are not arrays. So to implement this, I will have to use an array. So again, let me just show you. Let me just show you how I can use this. So I will have to define three arrays. So I have defined three arrays here, v1, v2 and v3, and I have to put these values in these arrays. And then when I'm calling the argument or the method vararg, so in the first function call I'm calling with v1, so the array v1, so it is passing 1. Here it is passing 2 values, and here it is passing 3 values. Okay, so depending upon the array. So here, as you can see, I cannot directly call it in this manner. I have to first pack it into an array and then call with that array. So this is also not very convenient, but this will still do the job. So let us run and see. Again, I hope I have saved it. Yes. Okay, it's taking some time for compilation. Yes, compiled. Now let us run this. Okay, so this is taking a little bit of time. So you can see here it's giving me the same result, 9, 19 and 11, because in the arrays I have the same. So this also does the job, but I would want something to be better than this. So let us go back to our program and modify it even further. Okay, so now I don't want this part. I will just remove this. This is a convenient way of calling the method. Okay, so let's see how we can call the method in this manner. So this class doesn't work. This class also we have seen that it is not as helpful. So again I will simply comment it out. Let us look at this class. So here we are actually using this varargs. So look at this class. In this class we have called the method, we have created the method vararg method, and here I have given the argument like this, int, then 3 dots. Okay, this is the ellipse. So, and I have given the name for the variable. So this is actually the way in which you create a variable length argument. So this 3 ellipse here is meant to indicate that this method is going to take in a unknown number of arguments, and all these arguments have to be of type integer. Okay, now internally what happens is that whatever you send, it goes into V in the form of an array. So all the integers that you pass will actually be put into V as an array. But the advantage or the difference with this and the previous example was that you don't have to put your arguments in the form of an array. The arguments need not be sent in the form of an array, but whatever arguments is passed, they will be packed together in the form of an array, and V will be the name of that array. So you can reference to that array through V. So this is done by using these 3 dots. So this is the actual variable length argument that you can pass to a method. So here internal in the function, you see it is the same. So here we are just doing one more step. We are printing how many arguments are passed. Sorry, this is something else. This is not required here. So number of arguments is v dot length. So since v is an array, so v dot length will give me the number of elements in that array. So number of arguments I will get, and then again same way I have a for loop. I'm finding the sum. So I is looping through the array v, and I'm printing the sum. So let's see. Let's see how this will work. Okay, so I'll go back to the main function. So in the main function, now you can see I have again the same. I can call it in this manner. Now I don't need to pack it into an array. Alright, so I can write as many as I want. So let me write one more also. let me add one more line here. Where args say 10, 14, 16. One more. 12. Oh, there's a dot here. Save it. Now let us run this and see. So let us run this. Compile first, then run. So now you can see. Now you can see here the number of arguments. Number of arguments is 1 and the sum is 9. Number of arguments is 2 and the sum is 19. Number of arguments is 3, sum is 11. Number of arguments is 4 and the sum is 52. So whatever be the number of arguments that you pass, okay, this variable length argument will take care of all of these. You don't have to write separate methods, nor do you have to write different arrays for each of your argument list. Now let's go back again once to the program. So back in our program, we have seen that this is how you can create your variable length argument. Okay, now these variable length argument methods can also be overloaded. So let's see. Here you can see, I have another method out here, another class out here. So let's look at this. Overloading of variable args method. So this is the class. So in this class I have, this is same as the previous one. I have a variable length argument v. It takes some number of integers. So I have again sum, printing the number of arguments, finding the sum, printing it. I have an overloaded method here, same name, so where arg method, okay, but here instead of passing integers I'm passing strings. So I'm passing some number of strings. So here what it is doing, here now it is finding the sum. Here means that it is concatenating. It is concatenating the strings. So it is printing the number of arguments. Then again same way, now I here is iterating through the elements of the array v. Okay, and here I was an integer because it was an array of v was an array of integers. Here v is an array of strings, so I is a string. And here what we're doing, when we use plus here, we are concatenating. And then I want that there is this concatenation is there for every after every word, before every word there will be a space. So I have added this extra space here. So sum, which is initialized to empty, is concatenated with a empty space. Then the string I is concatenated. And finally it is printing the concatenated string is whatever is there in sum. So this is overloading, method overloading. Two methods having the same name but different type of arguments. Let's see how this works. So okay, I have, again let me just copy this, put it in our main function. So here I have, alright, now you can see I'm calling where args with integers here. In these four methods I'm calling the integer method, and here I'm calling with the strings. So 9 here is not the integer 9, it's the string 9. Same for 2 and this. So these are all strings. So since it is an overloaded method, so the first 4 method calls should call the one with the integer, and the next we should call with the ones with the with your strings. So let us see how this works. Save it first. I hope I have removed the, yes I have. So let us go back and let us run this and see. So let us run this. Now I have compile this, then run. Now you can see here, first call, number of arguments 1, sum is 9. Number of arguments 2, sum is 19. So all these first 4 are calls to the one with the integer, the method with integer variable number of arguments. And the next 3, you can see number of arguments 1, concatenation is 9. So since I'm passing only 1, so 9. Then number of arguments is 2, so it is concatenating the string 2 and the string 17. Third one, it is concatenating the 3 strings 1, 4 and 6. So I can have overloading also with variable argument methods. But then there is a catch here. Let's see what can be the problem. Suppose here when I'm calling, let me call it like this: VOBJ dot var arg method this. So now what I'm doing, I'm calling this method now with empty. I can do that for a variable length. In that case, the number of arguments is 0. Okay, let's see what happens now. I am calling it with the empty list. So we save this, go back to our command prompt, compile. There it is. So you can see that there is an error. So what is that error? It says that reference to vararg method is ambiguous. Why it is ambiguous? Because now I'm calling it without any arguments, so it does not know whether to call the method with integer or to call the method with string, because both are valid. The one with integer and the one with string, both of them are matches. Okay, so at this point of time, the compiler does not know which method to call. So you have to be, when you are overloading variable length argument methods, then you have to be a little careful with this ambiguity, because this might happen. Okay, so this you have to keep track of. Alright, let's come back to our program. So we have talked about methods, variable length arguments, methods using variable length arguments. We have seen different ways of doing this. Okay, we have also seen overloading of methods. Now let me tell you something more about these variable length arguments. So I'm going back to my regular class here, varargs. The others I'm again going to simply comment it out. Okay, so this is the method I'm going to talk about. Okay, so here you can see I have passed one variable length argument. Now does that mean that I cannot pass any other type of argument here? The answer is no. We can pass other arguments along with the variable length argument method. So but there is a rule. It says that, okay, let me just write it down here. It says that the vararg argument must be the last one. Must be the last one in the variable length list. Let me write it here. So I can write something like this: int a, int b. You can give different data types also, doesn't matter. So int a, int b, I can write like this. So here a here is a regular integer, b here is a regular integer, whereas v here is a variable length integer argument. So now a is compulsory, b is compulsory, but v can take 0 or more values. So here number of arguments here would be v dot length, that is length of v plus 2, a and b, a here and b here. Okay, so let me put it like this. So sum would be sum plus a plus b, sum of all the arguments. Okay, so here sum will give me the sum of all the arguments of v that we give in v, but actual sum would be this plus this plus this. So the printed sum would be sum plus a plus b. So I can give like this. Okay, but I cannot write anything after this. Int c, I cannot write this because this must be the last argument. This must be the last argument. Okay, so let's see, let's run this and see. Okay, so let me call it from here. So since I'm not using this anymore, let me just stop here. Okay, now all these should work. Okay, will all this work? Let's test this. Save, let's test this. So I go back to the command prompt, compile. There you are. Now there is a error here. So it says that there are the method var arg in class where args cannot be applied to the given types. So it is giving here 9 when I'm giving only 1. It's giving me an error. Why? If you see, the reason is actual and formal argument list differ in length. Okay, again let's come back to the program. Let's come back to the program. Here you'll see this one takes in 0 arguments. Okay, so a is not there, b is not there. Now 2 already, a, b are compulsory, so I have to give a and b. Similarly here, this 9 that is there will go to a, and after that b will not have a value. So this also does not match. This matches. Why? Because 2 will go to a and 17 will go to b. And in the third one, in the fourth one here, 1 will get a will get 1, b will get 4, and v will get one element 6. Similarly, this 10 will go to a, 14 will go to b, and 16 and 12 will go to v. Okay, so these are valid, but these two will not give you an, because of these two we are getting an error. Let us run this now. I have removed these two statements. Let us run this now. Compile first. Remember, whenever you are running, changing the program, don't forget to compile. So, oh, I think this is match. This is a different. It has matched something else. Okay, let us come back to the program and modify this. So it is calling. I think I have forgotten to comment out. It is considering this to be the sum. Sum plus a plus b, and then finally it print sum. So it was considering the value of a and b to be strings, and then it was converting it into it was doing a concatenation, I think so. I hope everything is yeah. Save it. Let's run. So here I have sum is 19, number of arguments is giving 12. Oh, it's number of sum is 11, it's 22. Okay, so there must be some error, logical error I have made in the program. Let us go back and see. So to make it as integer, I have added 2 to it. So it was considering this to be a string. Compile, run. So there, now it's working fine. So it is 2, it is taking, sum is 19, 3 and 4. So here in this example, we have, even though it is using a variable length argument, 2 arguments is compulsory. So it must, the number of arguments here should be always 2 or more. So 2 or more, that's why 2 or more. So this is your this is our discussion on variable length arguments. So please remember that in variable length arguments, it can have more than one. It can have you can have not only variable length argument, you can have other arguments also, which are non-optional arguments, and but the variable length argument must always be at the